Coke or Pepsi?
Coke.
I'm more of a Pepsi person. Today I'm drinking Coke, though.
You're drinking a mini Coke.
I am not. I have giant hands.
It's a
This is a regular
it's a little
size.
bitty Coke.
I have giant hands. You're drinking Poppy. We talked about Poppy not too long ago. Recently purchased by Pepsi. How about that? So we got Coke and Pepsi here.
Thank you, knowledge boy.
Knowledge boy.
It's like you're just full of all this knowledge. Random knowledge.
Random knowledge that you wish I could make money on.
Yeah, that'd be great.
That'd be awesome.
So how do children affect your marriage?
Our own children or other people's children?
How about we stick with our own children?
Oh, okay.
But it would be a great conversation to talk about other people's children.
Talk about how other people's
we don't
children
want to offend
affect your
anybody.
marriage. No, you talk about how other people's children affect your marriage.
Okay, we love our nephews. I remember when they were little, they would eat off your plate.
Oh,
And
such moochers. I always, and then I had kids.
But then he had his own, you had
then
your
they
own
mooched
kids,
off
and then
me
you
all the
grew up
time.
and you realize
Yeah.
that's a normal thing
part of
for
the deal.
children to do.
Yeah.
So anyway, but before we get started into our topic, we just wanted to first of all recognize if you are someone who is trying to have a family and it just has not happened yet. We just want you to know that you are seen. I know for Brian and I, it took us a few years. It wasn't easy to get pregnant, and so we were very thankful to welcome any problems that came our way when it came to parenting. So we just want you to know that you are seen.
Yeah.
So.
And so today, as we talk about how do children affect your marriage, our hope is that we give you 3 takeaways to have a conversation about tonight or tomorrow. So how do children affect your marriage? How did our kids affect our marriage?
Oh, they had no effect, right?
Yeah, we were the perfect parent, for sure.
Children? So, no, I would say for me, like, they just definitely became a priority. Like, when I think of, like, high responsibility, I'm like, oh my goodness, they are very needy.
Yeah.
So you come home with the newborn in every stage to toddler to, you think that it's going to get easier. It's just bigger kids, bigger problems. So,
so the first thing is that their needs can become the priority over your spouse. And so this is very natural. I don't think there's anything on earth that affects your marriage more than adding other humans.
You want the best for your kids. You want to get them involved in things.
Right. And so, and there's some satisfaction to it too, right? You're like, oh, I did that with that kid. Like I made my kid's hilarious because I taught him that joke, whatever. But it's so easy for them to become the priority, and your spouse to become secondary. Yeah. And that can be really, really dangerous. So one of the ways that we thought of, just make sure that you have time to check in with your spouse every day. Yeah. One way to do that, get your kids to bed early. Andrea Rock, you got our kids to bed early.
The book told me
4:30 p.m.
It was not 4:30, by the way. That is so extreme.
It was really early.
But it was early, and I felt bad, but it worked.
It worked, and they slept.
They slept 12 hours.
Yes, and so now I get that's easier said than done.
Yeah, and one child is easier than another.
Yeah, for sure. But this is about the parent mostly.
Or room time. They don't have to go to bed. Just it's time for room time.
Time for room time.
Because we had one child who.
Because we wanted room time.
When they just wouldn't fall asleep right away, but I'm like, it's bedroom.
It's time for you to leave me. Go to your room. So, get them to bed early, man. Have some time with your spouse. Yeah. Second thing. The second way that kids can affect your marriage or children can affect your marriage is it can cause conflict if you have different parenting styles. I would say we had somewhat different parenting styles. I'm a little more laid back.
Yeah, you are.
Probably.
But you also probably followed my lead on things. So at least I knew I was supported.
Yep.
And so.
But this can be a big spot for conflict for couples, and so. Find some time when the kids aren't around to compromise on parenting styles.
I think a big thing with that too is just it's really starting to talk about, okay, what values do we want to instill in our kids, and what are the things that we have non-negotiables around? Because your kids are going to figure that out. They are going to be researching you
all the time.
All the time. Once you have them for life. They're going to be researching, and they're going to find out what's mom gonna let me do, what's mom gonna say, what's dad gonna say, and then they will play you against each other. And so it is so important to just know where you as a couple stand and your non-negotiables, and that that the kids see that you support one another.
Yeah.
Even if I may not agree with what you decided, or I think it may have been too harsh or too lenient, like I think it's really important to support your spouse.
Remember, you are negotiating with terrorists. Your children, they are trying to terrorize your life. And so make sure that you guys have unity.
That's right.
Because you are negotiating with terrorists.
There you go.
Third takeaway, parenting is yet another tool that God uses to shape us into who he wants us to be more like him. And so if we view it that way, if we view parenting as, okay, God, I will continue to learn, I will continue to become more like you, that might help you be a little more intentional with parenting and then with your spouse as well.
You definitely start to recognize things that are ugly, or I did in myself. And it was such an opportunity for me to go and ask my children. I mean, I started this when they were young. I'm like, I would go ask for forgiveness. I would say, I'm sorry. So I got into a very routine practice of that because sometimes my words were harsh.
You've always been a kind person. Your children made you maybe not so nice all the time. Remember.
And my kids are wonderful, so I'm sorry.
But when they were 4 and 2, terrorists, for sure.
Well, anyway, but it does. I think it is one of those when you realize that God brings these relationships into your life to make you more like him. You grow you have opportunities of patience, forgiveness, trust, kindness, self-control. Hello.
Yeah. For me, children made me grow up to an extent. And there's actually been research around this for men when they have kids. There's this piece that there's a responsibility thing that kicks in.
There's something in your brain.
There is something in your brain. I have no data for you.
Knowledge Boy doesn't have a data.
Knowledge Boy listened to a podcast one time that referenced a scientific study about the change in men's brains after they have a kid, and it was like a real thing.
Remarkable.
But I have no idea where that is.
Doesn't matter how many kids you have,
Yeah, so if you have 15 kids, you are 15 times more responsible. No, you have 15 kids, you're probably 15 times more irresponsible. Quit having sex with your wife. You had too many kids. So, but just know, God is going to use your children in your life in a very good, powerful way. Not just to create a family, but God's using them to shape you as well.
And even as you go through hard parenting seasons, you definitely, I just think of friends too, where the love of Jesus, that's what you are showing, this unconditional love to your children. So,
if we're thinking takeaways, get your kids to bed early. Remember you're negotiating with terrorists.
And Jesus loves you.
And Jesus loves you. Remember, God's working on you too. So have a conversation about this and just be really honest. If you've never had this conversation with your spouse, but you've thought it and you were worried about how your spouse would respond, this is a conversation that would be really, really important. Hey, since we've had children, this is different. Of course it's different. Acknowledge that, see what you can do to draw each other towards each other, to draw yourselves towards each other.
We hope this conversation has been helpful and has given you a few takeaways. Until next time.